Okay, how many of us have heard the common saying that tough time don't last, tough people do?
This between talk I don't laugh.
Exactly. So, in fact, that thing you just said just brought another dimension to it. So, first of all, we're all familiar, right? With that word, tough time don't last, tough people do.
Oh,
Well, you share experience.
sometimes when they use 2 years like this, actually 2 year anniversary tough time. What's your last year?
That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. So, what do you expect? Tough time should be in some seconds or should not exist at all?
Sometimes it will exist. It doesn't matter about it, don't see politics money. Sometimes it will exist on my side now. We're going to do good man. So it's because
So, that's to say, your understanding of tough times or your view of tough times talks about uh, just the abundance of resources or uh, lack of resources to a large extent,
yes, yes.
which many times is not all that there is to tough time. Of course, and if I will say this, it actually is symptom. Lack of those resources actually many times are a symptoms of the tough time that is going on. Lack of those things by itself is not the tough time. I don't know if that makes sense. Is that clear enough, or I should go over it again?
Yeah, it's clear, it's clear.
Okay. So, if you look at some people who seem to have these resources and then they seem to still be looking for what those who don't seem to have the resources have, then the question will be like, what more do you want? And that's to tell you that tough time come in shades, in colors, in varieties, and the paths that you face will always be there or is always there for a purpose, and most of the time is to build you and help you form either a solution or a character, most importantly. And on a grand scale, if you're able to prefer a solution to the hard times you face, it can be the source of the resource that you're looking for. But then, most of the time when we also look at tough times, just the way we look at even wealth and riches also, many times it's quite undefined because like it's vague because we just have an idea of this is not going the way I want it to go, and so it's a hard time. But that's not entirely true or entirely what it is or what it should be, because if you can have hard time, say getting a job done. For instance, unless you want to build something, you want to start a business or whatever, or even a career, you're having a hard time studying a particular course, but you're having a great time building relationships. So sometimes you can have hard time building relationship, as personal as it may or should be, and then you have a great time helping people out, even strangers and stuff like that. And sometimes you can have tough time keeping your friends together, like people that you think this should be my friend, we should do this together, we should have some kind of same goal, same vision, be going in the same direction, and all your attempts at achieving that just seem to be going to waste. But then you have a good time helping younger people grow, maybe face their career out, study that course and build businesses and stuff like that. I'm just saying that when you hear that statement that tough time don't last, tough people do, it very correct on one side, right? Because truly, if you face it head on, whatever the tough time is, or whatever area of your life where you have that tough time, if you can face it, first thing that happens is your curiosity as to why that tough time is actually taking place. And if you understand why it is taking place, then you're going to understand the nature of the tough time you're facing, and then you know what to do about it. And when I say you know what to do about it, I mean by the reason of your curiosity as to why, you begin to ask questions. Because if you know why, then you will know how to better tackle it. Not that somebody having a headache, and then as a result of that, you just go give them paracetamol because that's the nice thing to do or the next thing to do. Sometimes it's okay to know why that headache is there. Because if somebody is having a headache as a result of tumor, if you like, give him paracetamol morning, afternoon, and night. In fact, let them make it food. It will always come back. Right? If somebody is having a headache because they overthink again and again, if you like, give them paracetamol till tomorrow until they address that worry that is in their mind. That headache will not go. And like I was telling somebody that I didn't know that hunger can cause headache until I got into the university. Man, that day I was having this headache, very mad headache. And I was like, what is happening? But I wasn't where I could take any paracetamol or anything. So immediately I got home. No. I think I moved out as I got out of the school compound, got to the school gate. I found somewhere to eat. And interesting, after some minutes, after eating the food, discovered the headache was dissipating. And before I knew what was happening, it was gone. It was to my amazement that hunger can actually cause headache. That was my first time experiencing it. And then when I told people, they were like, hunger can cause headache very well. And people share different experiences. And it's interesting. That kind of a thing, yeah? If I've decided to go take any medication, maybe it will relieve me for the meantime. But if I don't eat, and I keep taking it, in fact, the situation might get worse. But then, the only reason that statement becomes true is that as a result of the tough time you face, you do something about it. You stay true. So on the other side of it, where I think it might not be correct, is if you're on the wrong side of life, tough time can last forever. And tough time may be the one telling the story of the tough man. Right? So, if there's any aspect of your life that you're checking and looks like there is a tough time, so before you conclude and before you give up, before you go, looking for something else to do, I think it makes sense to wait and find out, what is this tough time about? Why is it there? You can pray about it many times until you know why. Even prayer will be useless. Right? So, it's not enough to understand that the season you're in comes with some hardship or some tough time. There's also need to understand why the tough time and what it is about. And many times the why does not come early. Sometimes you would have overcome the tough time before you even understand why the tough time is in place. Right? But at least you must understand that you have to face it head on. What is it about? It's like somebody wanting to build a career and sitting down to learn the courses, sitting down to take classes, sitting down to take their exams, sitting down to go for the conferences. It does seem difficult because as you're taking the class, it's also stopping you from making some money that is required or that you need to keep going, right? But for what it is, if you don't stay true, certain things will not unfold. And that's why when you face tough time, one of the things you want to check is, is this on the path of where I want to go? Because if you want to be, say you want to be a crypto trader, an excellent one for that matter, and that you want to have a name for it, and then every time you enter a trade, it's always going in the opposite direction. Say you have done your analysis, you know this is supposed to pump, and then you long, the thing decides to go down. That's a loss, maybe liquidation or whatever. Then you've done another analysis, now you know you are supposed to short it, and then you short it, and the thing decides to go up, and then it keeps going until you are liquidated, and then you decide to stay on the sideways, and then the thing is giving money to everybody almost for free, and then you decide to jump in, it collects the one you have. You're like, what is happening? By giving up because of those obstacles, it only guarantees that you will never become the renowned person in crypto trading as you have planned it to be, right? But if by the reason of what you want to be, if you take your time to watch some YouTube videos, pay for some classes on technical analysis, get into some groups where you get fundamental analysis and latest news, new project and stuff like that, and then you pay to belong into certain circles where people know what is really happening, that might be difficult. In fact, that can be recorded as a tough time, because at that point in time nobody can bill you and you'll be willing to give. So all of those can happen to be a tough time, but the truth remains that if you stay faithful and committed to it, then you have an assurance that at the end of the day, you will come out just fine. And when I say just fine, all of those things you will look back and understand better. Like I said, we live life forward, we understand it backward. Then some of the things that were troubling you then, you understand it better, and then you can help people that are in that shoe at the present moment, help them navigate. I told the story of my first major loss in crypto, and I called my mentor, and it was like, after asking me what happened, how I traded, how I got into trade and blah 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 and everything, and I told him how I couldn't sleep and stuff like that, he just looked at me and said, "You'll be fine." That thing vexed me. Like, in all of this, all you have to say is, "You will be fine." Are you serious? But looking back now, I'm just looking at it, actually, what would he have said if not that I would be fine? But what he said then was also coming from his own experience. I mean, if you jump into a crypto position, any amount, either in thousands of dollars or in hundreds of dollars, any amount, no matter how small, imagine jumping into it, and then it's not leverage, it's not futures, just normal spot. You jump into it, and in your own presence, the thing half. In your presence, you have not gone anywhere. You know that is real deal. Imagine you entering a position of $1,000, and in your presence, it goes to $500. Not future, not margin, no form of leverage at all. Sometimes you have to check back. Hope it's not that my village people are here now. But with time, after that time, I took certain analysis class. In fact, I made it a point of duty to make sure that every day I learn something new about technical analysis. Every single day. Talk to people who are in the same field, learn different features, different indicators, how they are used and stuff like that. In fact, from there, delved into forex trading and everything, just to understand what is happening. And after then, I've trained several people, both in technical analysis and trading, and some of them are still very much in the business till today, and they like it, and they did well. And when they have trouble, and they come, and I can say, "Oh, you will be fine. Don't worry about it." Some of them are then able to say, "Oh, you should have done this. You shouldn't have done this. Okay, put this, put that." It makes sense. And then by reason of that, in fact, I remember one time, David was there and we entered the position, and then I told him, "Let's get out of this position." And immediately I got out, and the thing moved in the opposite direction. And he was like, no way, there's no way you want to tell me you are not using juju for this thing. And that's as funny as it gets. The same David today will gather people and train them all night. And they will be saying, thank God for your life. I want to learn from you. I'm learning from you. I like the way you are doing it. You make it simple. You make this and that. And I'm like, if some of these people were there when David was also in bewilderment, and the guy is saying, are you sure you're not using juju for this thing? They wouldn't believe that there was also a time like that when he doesn't seem to know. But the thing is, all the money he lost, if he had given up, maybe there'll be no crypto ballers today, right? And some of you, for the skills and the things you do, imagine that you have given up. Okay, let me borrow Alaga story. According to her, where she learned the Alaga stuff, the Oga is her age mate, right? And there are times that the lady will talk to her and they'll be like, what? If not for this thing that I come to learn on a normal day. So if by the reason of those difficult things at that point in time, if she had given up, I don't think there would be Alaga Eleoloyin today. And somebody with over 50k followers on TikTok and some other stuff has done different jobs in different places, Lagos, Ibadan, traveled to even the east and some other places like that. Now imagine that because of her boss insult, she had given up and like, you can't be talking to me like that. And all this time she was learning. Not as though I led her, she doesn't know what to use the money to do. That's why she go and learn it too. Right? So these were actually real tough times. But if you look at all of these concepts, there's no way in any man's life that you have a tough time that will touch your life all around. I mean that you cannot have tough time, that is, you have tough time in finances, you have tough time in relationship, you have tough time in living healthy, you have tough time in getting along with your parents or your friends. You have to, no. To a large extent, it will be specific to certain areas. And that's why I always want us to define it. So know where you have that tough time and then take pragmatic steps to address it. And once that is done, you can be rest assured that it's only a matter of time before good times are restored. And that's the only way that saying becomes true. That tough time don't last, tough people do. And your toughness is derived from your inability to give up at those period of times, right? And since almost everybody here is familiar with crypto, I'll use a scenario lastly before I wrap up. I believe we all know what we call support and resistance. So I will just take it on the surface. I will not go too deep into it before I start to preach something else. Yes, support and resistance. Basically, we know that when we talk of support, that's like where we have the floor for that price range. And every time we get to that support, we expect that it will bounce, right? And then where we have the resistance seems to be like the ceiling for that particular price range. So anytime we get to that ceiling, it will come back down. So here's a principle there that I believe some of you are also very much aware of. You know, if the resistance is hit consistently again and again over a period of time, that resistance will give way. Those of you doing crypto, is that correct? Please, I need a response to be sure that what I know is still very much relevant.
Yes, because between the resistance and support, it's more or less like an application. So after that, there's going to be a link.
Alright. Okay, so if that resistance is hit again and again, and the energy is there that keeps it going, it's only a matter of time before that resistance gives way. And also, the so-called support, if again and again that support is hit again and again and there is energy following it up, it's only a matter of time before that support gives way. That's also what tough time looks like in the life of a man, in the life of anybody. So if the tough time is there and you are consistent and you keep pushing, it's only a matter of time before it goes. Now, in our own case, eating it consistently over and over again might mean you gaining new knowledge, you learning a better way of doing this thing, you calling for help from somebody, you seeking assistance from everywhere you can get it, you belonging to a particular group where they give you the push to keep going, where they help you to know that your story is not exactly different from what everybody is going through. But whichever way, you have to keep it going. You have to keep it going, making sure that nothing should stop you. And the only reason you have to give up on anything at all is if you discover that that's not the path you want to follow. Let's say you find yourself, maybe because your friend is doing theater arts, and you have been, it's not difficult, and then you are doing it, and then suddenly you discover that, wait, it's a doctor I want to be. That's what I want to do, not an artist in this case. And you can retrace your step for whatever reason like that. But that you have an obstacle along your path to where you want to go, and then you, because of that, give up. No, it will be a disservice to yourself. So just the way that resistance will give up, if it is it again and again with good energy, you can be rest assured that even the obstacle that you find before you will also give way. And there is a book dedicated to that entirely that is called Obstacle is the Way. And if you have read The Art of War, these are some of the things you will learn. And some of these things are also put together by Marcus Aurelius, because these are the people that observe situation of things in life, how life works, and they have come to the realization that many times when you have the obstacles, when you have the difficulty, when you have the tough time, you are at the very verge of changing status, changing level, and if only you stay a little longer, then the success you're looking for is just around the corner. So I hope that's been helpful to somebody this morning. Let's keep it going. Don't give up.
If your life stay for me, let's keep it going. Don't give up. Okay. I will hold that my right hand. I think my left hand.
Hold it where you not forget it.
I will describe it to my heart.
It's okay.
Immediately, what you're telling us now is to keep on.
Yes. Keep bombing.
Keep bumping.
Yes, sir. All right, people. That's it for this morning.
Good morning. I sit down open my ears this morning like this now. So you like that?
Don't worry. You never did public yet.
Yeah, no.
Make sure you have a great week.
When you say you're closing the back for me.
Let you do what?
I want to say you're closing the back for you. What you used to say?
Okay.
You don't want to say anything. Have a great week. But yeah.
Right.